Hello friends, welcome back. By end of this video, you will be learning about the constitutional provision with regard to taxation, the need for amendment in our constitution, why was an amendment necessary to be made in our constitution, and the journey of GST, how did GST came into existence. With that being said, let us straight away start our today's discussion. Okay, before starting today's discussion, let us revise what we had discussed yesterday. We had discussed about tax. What do you mean by tax? Tax is a pecuniary burden which is laid upon individuals and property owners. So whatever expenditure is incurred by government, whatever expenditure, whatever different activities is undertaken by government, the money which is going from us to them in the form of tax. Then we discuss the two types of taxes, which is direct tax and indirect taxes. Direct tax, incident and impact is on same person, whereas indirect tax, incident and impact is on two different person. Then direct tax is progressive in nature and indirect tax is regressive in nature. Then we are also seeing the features of indirect taxes. What are the features of indirect taxes? RCB will win, sir. What are the features of indirect taxes? RCB will win, sir. Who is going to win the IPL this year? RCB will win, sir. R for important source of revenue to the government. C for taxes on commodities and services. B for shifting of burden. Then win. W for wider tax base. I for inflation nature. N for no perception of direct pinch, and S for promotes social welfare, and R for what, sir? R for regressive in nature. Indirect tax is regressive in nature. Okay. Now let us straight away start our discussion on today's topic, constitutional provision with regard to GST. Now, before starting this, let me tell you a small story again. Say for example, you are walking on the street. A police officer comes and catches you. He tells, sir, you are arrested. You are arrested. He's coming. You are sitting at your house. He's coming. He's telling, sir, you are arrested. You are walking on the road. Some person comes and asks you, pay me some amount. Now, a police officer is coming and asking you to, and telling that you will be arrested. You are arrested now. Now, will you not ask the police officer the reason why the reason why you are arrested? Will you not ask the police officer who gave the authority to him to arrest you? Similarly, if you are going on the street and some person comes and asks you, please pay me this particular amount. I want this amount to be collected from you as a tax. Will you not ask that person who gave you the authority to you to collect taxes from me? What type of taxes are you collecting? Who gave you this authority? Now, we'll always need that reason. If any person is doing something, we'll always see the authority, who is the person who is giving him the permission to do this particular activity. Any work which is done, you'll always see the person who gave the permission to do this. Similarly, with regard to our taxation also, the different departments which are there, the income tax department, the GST department, the excise department, customs department, professional tax department, all the different departments which are there, they are collecting taxes from us. Now, who gave the permission to them to collect taxes? That permission which is there, no, that is given by the Constitution of India. If the Constitution of India is telling that you cannot do this, you can never do that. If you do that, it is illegal. It is void. It is ultra virus to the Constitution. Therefore, for collecting the taxes also, we should first take the permission from our Constitution. So with this brief introduction, let us straight away start our today's discussion. Sir, what do you mean by Constitution? Sir, what is this Constitution? Constitution means the Constitution of India. The Constitution of India is the supreme law in India. It is mother of all laws. It is the supreme law. It is mother of all the different laws which are there in India. There are different types of laws in India. Child Labor Act, there is Motor Vehicle Act, there is Income Tax Act, there is GST, there is Customs Act, etc. For all these different laws which are there in India, there is a mother law. That mother law gave the permission for making all these different laws in India. If there is no mother law, if there is no permission given by mother, the children cannot do anything. So Constitution of India is the supreme law in India. The supreme law of India is Constitution. Any activity done by any person, any work done by the president, prime minister, etc., they should check whether the permission has been given by the Constitution for them to do this particular work. Now, in India, two dates are very important. two dates are very important. Which two dates, sir? Sir, 14th February and 14th November. Exactly 9 months gap is also there. Hey, go guys, not these days, not this date. Sir, 14th February, 14th. No. There are two dates which are very important. 26th of January and 15th of August. 26th of January is celebrated as Republic Day. And also 26th of November in India is celebrated as Constitution Day. I think 5 years back only, they started celebrating this day. Which day? 26th of November as Constitution Day. So it was at this time when the Constitution was first, the law of Constitution was first made, it was ready, but it was effective from 26th January 1950. It was made effective from 26th January 1950. So it is called as Republic. It is celebrated as Republic Day in India. Okay. Anyways, that is something which is not, we should not be concerned about, because we are not learning Constitution. But there are few points in that Constitution. There are few articles in the Constitution which is required for us to understand, to check how the GST came into existence. The Constitution of India has a preamble, we the people of India ... It has 25 parts in it and 448 articles. It has 448 articles which consist of 12 schedules. Now, sir, why are we studying this, sir? The power to levy or collect any types of taxes, whether it is a direct tax or indirect tax, the power to levy or collect such type of direct taxes or indirect taxes is emerging from Constitution of India. It emerges from the Constitution of India. So if the government is collecting from you any type of tax which is not mentioned in the Constitution, then it is said to be illegal and it will be void. It is said to be ultra virus to the Constitution. If government is passing any notification, if government is passing any circular, if it is passing any order which is against the Constitution, then it will be void. It is because of this reason only there is no tax on agricultural income. In India, a person who is earning through agricultural, he does not, agricultural income, if he is earning, he does not have to pay any income tax at all. He is not required to pay any type of tax on that agricultural activity. Whatever earnings he makes from that agricultural activity, he does not have to pay any tax. Why, sir, he does not have to pay any tax? Because the Constitution of India is telling that. Because our Constitution is telling that. Okay. Now, we will see what are the different articles. Totally, Constitution has how many articles? 448 articles. We will see which are the different articles in our Constitution relating to taxation. What was there in the article and what was not there in the article, because of which an amendment was supposed to be made in the article. Now, there are 3 different articles in our Constitution. From taxation perspective, we should see 3 different articles. What are these 3 different articles, sir? Article 245, Article 246 and Article 265. This Article 265 says, which article? Article 265 says, no tax can be collected unless until there is an authority of law. Meaning, no person in India can ask you to pay tax unless until there is an authority of law. There should be a law. There should be a law in India which is made, and that law should give the permission. That law should be there for you to pay the taxes. A person on the road cannot come and ask you to pay the taxes. Even though he is the Prime Minister of India, even though he is the President of India, he cannot ask a person who is walking on the road to pay the taxes. Is the authority given? Is there any permission which is given by the Constitution to collect that law? Then only that particular amount of tax, etc., can be collected. So no tax is required to be paid by you unless until authority is given by the Constitution. Then Article 245 says, the government, central government or the parliament, central government is also called as the parliament. The parliament has the power to make law for whole or any part of India. For this entire territory of India or any part of India, who has the power to make law? The constitution, the central government or the parliament has the power to make law for the entire country or any part of the country or any part of the country. It is because of this particular article you would have seen that there were many laws before. There were many laws which were made applicable to whole of India except the state of Jammu and Kashmir. Anyways, now it is not there. Now such kind of activities are not there because the special status to Jammu and Kashmir has been removed. But there were many laws in GST also. When we are studying, you will see that normally the provision says something, and there are some special category states which are mentioned under GST. For the special category states, there is some other provision applicable, there is some other benefit, there are some benefits etc given to those particular states. Why, sir? Why such kind of discrimination is made? Because the power has been given. Article 245 says the central government can make law for the entire country or any part of the country. Similarly, this Article 245 says the state government, also called as legislature of state, the state government or legislature of the state has the authority to make law for the whole of the state or any part of that state. If you want to make law for one particular state, the permission is also given to the state government. The permission is given to the state government to make law for entire state or any part of that state. So, for example, say Maharashtra can make law for whole of Maharashtra or any part of Maharashtra. Delhi government can make law for whole of Delhi or any part of Delhi. It is because of this reason they have, see, now in whole of India, do you have this odd even rule for movement of vehicles? No, we don't have. But in state of Delhi, sometimes they make this rule that odd even some rule is there, no, that vehicles odd number vehicles should go on these days or even number vehicles should go on these dates. Who gave the permission to Arvind Kejriwal to make such law? This article. Now that permission is not given to Arvind Kejriwal to make law for the entire India. It is not given to make law for the entire India. He has the permission to make law only for his state or any part of his state. Similarly, Narendra Modi announced a lockdown. Okay, some months back he announced a lockdown due to this COVID issues. He announced a lockdown. Now, who is giving permission to Narendra Modi to announce lockdown? For entire country announced a lockdown. Who gave the permission? The permission was given by this particular article. So this article gives the permission for the central government or the parliament to make law for whole of India or any part of India. Similarly, it is this article only which is giving permission to a particular state government or a legislature of a state to make law for the entire state or any part of that state. Now, there is one more article, Article 246. This article has a schedule, 7th schedule of this article. 7th schedule of Article 246 talks about 7th schedule of Article 246 talks about 3 lists: union list, state list, and concurrent list. What is this, sir? We will understand. This article 246 of our constitution, article what's up 246 of our constitution has a 7th schedule in it. That 7th schedule in article 246 talks about 3 different lists: union list, state list, and concurrent list. What are these 3 different lists, sir? Union list consists of all the different activities, all the different matters in respect of which only the central government or the parliament can make the law. Whatever items are there in union list, whatever activities are mentioned in the union list, whatever matters are mentioned in the union list, only the central government has exclusive right. They have exclusive right to make the law with regard to those items which is contained in union list. Similarly, the state government or a legislature of a state has the exclusive right to make. They have the exclusive right to make law with regard to all those different activities, with regard to all those different matters which is contained in state list. Concurrent list gives the power to both central government and state government. It says both central government and state government can make law with regard to all the different matters which is listed in state list, concurrent list. Now the union list and state list talks about taxation. It talks about taxation, meaning what are the different types of taxes on which the central government can make law, what are the different types of taxes on which the state government can make law, etc. But concurrent list does not talks about taxation. It talks about the general law for the public, which jointly central government and state government can make. Now for example, we have income tax. The entire revenue of income tax is going to central government. Why, sir? Because it is, the income tax is in union list. We have custom duty. The entire revenue of custom duty which you are paying goes to the central government. Why, sir? Because custom duty is in union list. We have something called as excise duty, which is now merged with GST. We have something called as service tax, which is now merged with GST. The entire revenue with regard to excise duty, the entire revenue with regard to service tax is directly going to central government. Why, sir? Because the permission, because it is listed in the union list, and only the central government or the parliament has the power to collect that type of taxes, and the revenue also will go to them. Just like that, we have something called as value added tax or sales tax. We have something called as entertainment tax. We have something called as what, sir? Entertainment tax. We have something called as luxury tax. We have something called as entry tax or purchase tax. We have something called as tax on lottery, betting and gambling. We have something called as tax on alcoholic liquor for human consumption, etc. These are the different types of items which are listed. There are many other, okay, there are many other, but these are the different types of items which are listed in this state list, Now who can make law with regard to these items? Only the state government can make law. So it is because of this reason you would have seen that in some states the price of alcohol is very less, in some state the price is more, in some state there is no alcohol at all. It is considered as dry state, etc. For example, Gujarat is dry state. For example, Goa, the prices of alcohol is less. For example, other state where the prices are high. Why, sir? How can this government do like this? Why is the rate not uniform? Because the constitution is giving the permission to whom? The constitution is giving the permission to the state government only. Respective state government, I am giving the permission to make law with regard to those items. I give permission to that state only. Now, income tax, it cannot differ from state to state. Custom duty, it is not different from state to state. For entire India it is same. But whereas tax on value added tax, entertainment tax, luxury tax, lottery, betting, gambling, alcoholic liquor, this type of taxes may differ from a state to state. Reason being, because it is in this state list. Then concurrent list does not talk about tax law. It does not talk about tax law. Then what does it talk about, sir? If it does not talk about tax law, what is this concurrent list talking about? Concurrent list talks about other general laws. Example can you give, sir? Yes. Example, law with regard to education. Example, criminal laws which we have, etc. For example, say up to 14 years of age, every child should be educated. So this law is not applicable only for one state. It is applicable for entire India. Now who will decide this? Both central government and state government jointly can come and decide that particular thing. Now see, for example, this concurrent list is telling, say the central government is telling that minimum 14 years of age is a child should be, at least for until 14 years the education should be given. Sir, can some state make it 15 years? Yes, they can make it 15 years. Why? Because concurrent powers is given. Sir, can some state make it 13 years? No, that is not possible. You cannot reduce, you can always increase. Criminal laws, Indian Penal Code, we have Contract Act, we have Child Labor Abolish Act, we have, say, Women Protection Act, etc. All these different acts which is there, the permission is given to both central government and state government. It is listed in our concurrent list, and the permission is given to both central government and state government to make law with regard to these different items. So As of now, we have discussed what? We have discussed Article 245, which says central government and state government, the central government has the permission to make law for whole of the country, and state government has the power to make law for whole or any part of the state. 265 says no tax can be collected unless there is an authority, and 246 talks about 3 different lists. Now, by seeing all these things, tell me, do you see any part in our constitution which is telling that both central government and state government can jointly make the law? Whatever we have discussed till now, did I anywhere tell that both central government and state government can jointly make the law? I didn't tell. Why, sir? Because the constitution is not allowing that. The constitution has not given any authority to both central government and state government to jointly come and make a tax law. To make a tax law, please note, I am talking about tax law. Both central government and state government cannot come together and make a tax law. It is because of this reason an amendment was made in our constitution. Why, sir? Because we all know GST is something which is levied by both central government and state government. Whatever GST you are paying, the amount, the revenue which is collected in the form of GST will go to both central government and state government. How is it distributed? What is the amount which will go, etc. We'll see in our further classes. But this GST which is there will go to both central government and state government. That means the power should be given to both central government and state government to levy these taxes. But nowhere in our constitution that power was given. Therefore, they had to amend our constitution. They made an amendment in our constitution, and Constitutional 101st Amendment Act. What, sir? Constitutional 101st Amendment Act 2016 was passed. This Constitutional 101st Amendment Act 2016 introduced new articles in our constitution. It introduced different types of new articles. For example, sir, Article 246A. For example, Article 269A. For example, Article 279A, etc. These are the articles which is important from your GST perspective. Article 246A. We had Article 246. They introduced something called as 246A. This Article 246A gave the permission to both central government and state government to make law with regard to GST. This article gave the permission to central government and state government to make law with regard to GST. Now, what are these different articles? What are the different permission which was given, etc. We'll see. Okay, I'll just read it out. So it is Supreme Law, Article 265. What is Article 265 telling? No tax shall be levied or collected except by an authority of law. So if income tax is been collected, there is income tax authority. If GST is collected, there is GST authority, customs authority, etc. There should be an authority of law. There should be a law, income tax law, goods and service tax law, CGST law, SGST law, whatever type of law is there. That law should be there. Article 245 says the Parliament may make law for whole or any part of territory of India. Similarly, legislature of the state means the state government can make law for whole or any part of the state. Then Article 246. What is this Article 246 telling? This article gives respective government, that is union and state government, central government and state government, for levying taxes. Which law is giving, which article is giving? 246. Now it has 7th schedule in it. What has 7th schedule, sir? Article 246 has 7th schedule, which talks about different lists, which has given 3 lists, which talks about the powers or the matters with respect to which central government and state government can make law. There is an union list which contains the matters in respect of which the parliament has exclusive right to make law. It has state list which contains the matters in respect of which the state government has exclusive right to make law, and it has concurrent list which contains the matters in respect of which both central government and state government has the power to make law. Example, sir, the different things which are there in Union list is income tax, custom duty, excise duty, etc. Value added tax is there under state list, luxury tax, entertainment tax, tax on alcohol, etc. Then law with regard to criminal, say concurrent is consist of criminal laws, law with regard to education, stamp duty, etc. is there in criminal law. Now, why was there a need in amendment in a constitution? Because there was no article in our constitution which was telling that both central government and state government can jointly make a law, and change was made in the constitution. An amendment was made in constitution. What is this point telling? Introduction to GST required an amendment in the constitution. For introducing GST, that amendment was supposed to be made in the constitution so as to enable the integration of central excise duty, additional customs, additional duties of customs, state VAT, and certain state specific taxes. There are different types of taxes which were collected before GST. All these taxes got merged and it became one type of tax, which is GST. For integrating all these different taxes, an amendment was supposed to be made. What are these different types of taxes which got merged, etc.? We'll see later. Into one comprehensive GST to empower both central government and state to collect and levy the same. Consequently, this is important, constitutional 101st Amendment Act 2016 was passed. It contains 20 sections. Now, what are the significant provisions? What are the different important things which was taken care in this constitutional amendment? Please note, this is just a summary. Okay, this is just a summary of the different matters which the constitution of the constitutional 101st Amendment Act got into picture. We will discuss all these things one by one. What are the different things? Now this amendment, because of this amendment, the power was given to both central government and state government to levy the law, to make law with regard to goods and service tax. And this act, Constitutional Amendment Act, 101st Amendment Act, also told that with regard to interstate supply, if there is a supply which is made from, there is something called as interstate supply and intrastate supply under GST. Normal understanding, in layman words, interstate supply means if a supply is made between two different states, it is called as interstate supply. And intra means if a supply is made in same state or same union territory. So if it is between two different states, two different union territory, or one state and one union territory, it will be called as interstate supply. And if it is in same state or same union territory, it is called as intrastate supply. This is just general meaning. We will discuss about intrastate supply and interstate supply in our further classes whenever we are doing what do you mean by interstate supply, etc. We'll discuss all those things. But general understanding, because we are discussing one point where I have used the word inter and intra. Interstate means if the supply is made between two different if the supply is made between two different states or two different union territory. Intra if the supply is made within the same state or within same union territory, it is called as intrastate supply. What is this point telling? Constitution amendment, this Amendment Act told that the law with regard to interstate supply between two different states can be made only by central government. Then the principles for determining the place of supply, etc., whether the supply is an interstate supply or not. The principle for determining the place of supply, how will I decide whether it is interstate supply or intrastate supply? By knowing the place where the supply is made. So the principles with regard to those can be made only by the parliament or the central government. Then this act also told that the GST can be levied on supply of all the different types of goods and services. What did this act told? The GST can be levied on supply of all the different types of goods and services except on alcoholic liquor for human consumption. Sir, what do you mean by this, sir? See, this is something which we will discuss in section 9. There is something called as section 9 which we'll discuss. Next point also we'll discuss in section 9. But just a summary, we have just discussing the summary. What are the important changes which was made because of this particular introduction of this particular 101st Amendment Act? That is what I am taking. The summary, the brief I am giving, the brief. It is like the index of our textbook. Okay. So what is this point telling? GST can be levied on all the different types of goods which you are supplying, on all the different types of services which you are supplying, except on alcoholic liquor for human consumption. If there is any alcoholic liquor which is consumed by human beings, on that no GST will be levied. Then what will be levied? We'll see. And then this act also said that on HP man, there are 5 products. HP man, H for high speed diesel, P for petroleum crude, M for motor spirit, A for aviation turbine fuel, and N for natural gas. On this HP man, GST will be levied from the date notified by the government. What do you mean by this, sir? Meaning on this HP man, on these 5 products, as on today there is no GST levied. Will the GST be levied, sir, tomorrow? Yes, they will levy the GST from the date whenever government is notifying. Then there are tobacco products. Please note, we are going to discuss in detail about all these things in our further classes, whatever classes we are taking on future basis. Once we go to that particular provision, we'll discuss all those things. As of now, just understand this as a summary. Then the union government, that is the central government, has the power to make law. The central government has the power to collect excise duty. They are telling on tobacco and tobacco products which are there, both GST and excise duty will be levied. Both GST and excise duty, tobacco and tobacco products which are manufactured in India, both excise duty and also the GST will be levied and collected. They also introduced an article called as Article 279A. Very important. Very important. We'll discuss in future anyways. Article 279A constituted a GST council. This article constituted what, sir? GST council. What is this GST council? Whatever different changes which is made in the GST, whatever changes, whatever new notifications, whatever new rules which the government is making with respect to GST, they are all recommended by this council. It is this council which will give the recommendation to the government. Once the government feels okay, whatever recommendation is given by the council is good and this law is required to be made in India, then whatever recommendation has been given, that will be made into an act or law. So GST council, very important, we'll discuss. This GST council was formed on 12th of September and it was GST council provisions with regard to GST council came into existence from 12th of September 2016 and it was constituted by the President of India on 15th of September 2016. Anyways, we'll see all these things. As of now, we will discuss Article 246A. What is this Article 246A? It is this article which gave the power to make law with respect to GST. It is Article 246A which told, I give the power to both central government and state government to make law with regard to GST. I give the power to central government and state government to jointly come together. They both can come together and make law with regard to GST. And this article also said that, it is this article which also said that the law with regard to interstate supply, the law with regard to what? Interstate supply can be made only by central government. Only the parliament can make law with regard to interstate supply. Notwithstanding to anything contained in Article 246 and 254, Parliament and legislature of every state shall have the power to make law with respect to goods and service tax which will be imposed by the union, that is central government and state government. Then it also said the parliament has the exclusive, the parliament has, sir, what do you mean by this exclusive? It has exclusive power means only that government can make law, no one else, only that person, Parliament has exclusive power to make law with respect to goods and service tax where the supply of goods or services or both takes place in the course of interstate trade or commerce. See, point number 1 told, clause 1 of Article 246A told, but both central government and state government can make law with respect to GST. The second clause of Article 246A is telling what? If there is any interstate trade happening, if there is any interstate trade or commerce happening, with regard to that, only the central government or the parliament has the power to make law. And they have also added an explanation to this article which said, in respect of this HP man, these 5 products, in respect of this HP man, GST will be levied from the date notified by the government. Whenever the GST Council is recommending to levy GST on these items. From that date, GST will be levied. Then Article 269A. Article 269A talks only about interstate supply. It talks about what, sir? Interstate supply. It talks about levy and collection of GST on interstate supply. This article says, I give the power to central government to make law with regard to interstate supply. Which article? Article 269A says, I give the permission to the central government of India to make law with regard to interstate supply. With regard to interstate supply, what are the different laws which you are supposed to make? I will have to make IGST Act. Then I will have to make law with regard to determination of place of supply, where is the supply made, etc. All these different things which we'll discuss in our future classes wherever it is applicable. Okay, goods and service tax on supply in the course of interstate trade and commerce shall be levied and collected by Government of India. What do you mean by Government of India? Central government. See, wherever in your material they are using Government of India or central government or parliament, it means central government. All these three different things means central government. And such tax shall be apportioned between union and states. What is this telling? The tax on interstate supply can be collected by the Government of India, that is central government. Whatever tax the central government is collecting on interstate supply, that is required to be distributed by the central government to central government itself and respective states and different states. How will they distribute? In the manner which is provided by the parliament by law on recommendation of GST Council. However, whatever manner is given by GST Council, normally it is 50-50%. Whatever manner, whatever GST Council is telling how this distribution is required to be done, in that same format the distribution is required to be done. Then explanation. For the purpose of this clause, supply of goods or services in the course of import, if you are importing anything, that also shall be treated as interstate supply. If you are importing anything or exporting anything, that also will be treated as interstate supply. Then this article also said the parliament may by law formulate the principles for determining place of supply and the principles when a particular transaction shall be treated as interstate supply. Okay, so Article 269A and Article 246A. Article 246A, important, it gave the permission to the both central government and state government to make law with regard to goods and services tax. Now, journey of GST in India. How did GST came into existence? Did it come overnight only? I got up and wow, I am seeing GST. Did it happen like that? No. Obviously, whatever difference in our life also, we human beings also, we took some time from apes to become the normal human beings, correct? From apes becoming human beings, there was a lot of time which was which we have which not we obviously, say someone who our ancestors have come from step by step. In our education also, first standard, second, you cannot directly go to PUC, say 12th standard. You will have to first come one by one, step by steps. Similarly, GST also did not come overnight. It did not happen that a rocket was lighted and it got launched. It did not happen like this. It was over a period of time. It took around 17 years for GST to come in existence in India. It was for the first time in the year 2000 when Mr. Atal Bihari Vajpayee was the Prime Minister of India. He for the first time told that India should have a taxation. He was the first time who introduced the concept of GST in India, and he told that India should also follow GST as a type of indirect taxes. But he was not, he just told that please design a GST model for the country. Obviously, he is not the person who is going to sit and design. So there were different, committee which were set up. All this different committee gave recommendation to him. We should have this type of GST, we should have this type of GST, etc. So whatever recommendation was given, by considering those recommendation, a law is made, correct? A law is made. It was the Kelkar Task Force. This committee, Kelkar Task Force, it was this committee which told that in India we should have a national basis of GST. Meaning what? For the entire India, there should be only one tax. There should be only one tax, which is GST. We should not have, say, in this value added tax or sales tax. What used to happen? Every government had the power. Every state government has the power to make law with regard to sales tax. Every state government, say one state government is taxing a product at 10%, another state government is taxing the same product as 14%. Why? This is because the power was given to the state government. It was Kelkar Task Force. This committee for the first time recommended full integrated GST on national basis. For the entire India, we should have full integrated GST, one nation, one tax. This concept was introduced by this Kelkar Task Force, which was headed by Vijaya Kelkar. It was headed by Vijaya Kelkar. And it was in the year 2006, our then finance minister, who was the finance minister at that time, sir? P. Chidambaram. Our then finance minister told, from 1st April 2010, from 1st April 2010, we will introduce GST in India. Who told? Finance minister P. Chidambaram told. When did he tell? In the year 2006, during his budget meeting, when he was presenting the budget, he told, in India we are going to introduce GST from 1st April 2010. But did it happen? No, it did not happen. Now, after that, there were changes which were made, etc. Constitutional 122nd Amendment Bill was introduced. This Constitutional 122nd Amendment Bill became Constitutional 101st Amendment Act. This became an act. First, see, normally if there is any act which is required to be, whatever act you are studying, if there is an act which is required to be made, it will first be presented to Lok Sabha, then it will go to Rajya Sabha, then the president is going to assent it. Once the president is giving his signature, then the act is made. Similarly, before becoming an act, it is called as bill. Before becoming an act, it is called as bill. Okay, so Constitutional 122nd Amendment Bill became the Constitutional 101st Amendment Act. 122nd Bill, Constitutional 122nd Amendment Bill became Constitutional 101st Amendment Act. Okay, so in August 2016, Constitutional 101st Amendment Act came into existence, and first GST Council meeting was held in September 2016. Then in March 2017, it is 28th March. Anyways, the date is not important. In March 2017, CGST bill, UTGST bill, IGST bill, SGST bill, and GST compensation bill. These are the different types of taxes which is collected under GST. CGST, SGST, IGST, UTGST, and GST compensation cess. These are the different types of taxes which are collected under GST. The format or the draft law was made. This draft law was presented in Lok Sabha, and then it was presented in Rajya Sabha, and finally in April 2017 the president gave the assent to this law, and this law was made. We got CGST Act, we got SGST Act, we got UTGST Act, IGST Act, and GST Compensation Cess Act. Please note, IGST, CGST, UTGST, and GST Compensation Cess law with regard to these are made by central government, and law with regard to SGST Act, which is there, SGST Act, the power is given to respective state for making their own SGST Act. Now, it was in 30th June 2017, all the different states in India, it was on 30th June 2017, all the different states in India passed their state GST Act. They passed their state GST Act, and from 1st July 2017, a birth of new indirect tax law was happened. That was GST, and it is celebrated as GST Day. In India, we are celebrating it as GST Day. And on 8th July 2017, see, all the different states in India passed their respective state GST Act on 30th June 2017. But Jammu and Kashmir delayed it, and it passed their Jammu and Kashmir state GST law on 8th of June 2017, on 8th of June 2017, the Jammu and Kashmir passed their respective state GST law. SGST Act passed by Jammu and Kashmir. SGST, okay, I'll just read it once for your benefit. And we'll close today's class here only. This video will end over here only, because next is a new topic, new discussion, and I think there should be a flow for this particular discussion, and very beautiful. Now see, till now nothing about GST we have discussed, only the journey of GST we had seen. But what is GST, what is the concept of GST, how is GST levied, etc., we are going to start our discussion from the next video. From next video the important discussion starts. So I'll just read this genesis of GST. What do you mean by genesis, sir? Journey of GST in India. How did GST come into existence in India? Point number 1. In the year 2000, the Prime Minister introduced the concept of GST, and he set up a committee to design GST model for the country. He set up a committee also for designing the GST model in India, and it was in the year 2004, the Kelkar task force, which was headed by whom, sir? Vijaya Kelkar. He recommended full integrated GST on national basis. For the entire India, we should have only one GST. This was recommended by him. And in the year 2006, an announcement was made by the Union Finance Minister. Who was Union Finance Minister at that time, sir? P. Chidambaram, during his budget of 2006-07, that GST would be introduced in India from 1st April 2010. But was it introduced? No, sir. In the year 2014, the Constitutional 122nd Amendment Bill was introduced in Lok Sabha. First it should be introduced in Lok Sabha, and after that permission, once it is approved by Lok Sabha, then Rajya Sabha, and then President accept. In the year 2016, August 2016, the Constitutional 101st Amendment Act 2016 was enacted. September 2016, first GST Council meeting was held, and then March, respective GST bills were passed, and in April these bills became an act, and in March GST Council recommends the rules. So first bill, then act, then rules also with regard to GST. And on 30th June 2017, all the states except Jammu and Kashmir passed their respective SGST Act, and in 1st July 2017 the GST was launched in India. Now from this date we have one nation, one tax. For the entire country we have only one tax, which is GST, only one type of indirect tax. In July 2018, SGST Act was passed by Jammu and Kashmir. CGST and SGST ordinance promulgated to extend to the state of Jammu and Kashmir also. So CGST and IGST law also was extended to the state of Jammu and Kashmir. With this discussion, let me close today's class. Let us revise before going. What did we discuss in our today's class? We discussed about the constitutional provision with regard to GST. What are the constitutional provision? Article 246, Article 265 first. 265 says what? No tax can be levied or collected unless until there is an authority. Article 245 says central government has the power to make law for whole or any part of India. Article 245 also states the legislature of the state or state government has the power to make law for whole or any part of the state. Article 246 said, it talks about three lists, that is 7th schedule of Article 246 talks about three lists: state list, union list and concurrent list. State list, exclusive power to state government. Concurrent list, power given both to central government and state government. Union list, power given only to state government. There was no article in our constitution which gave the power to both central government and state government to make law with regard to taxation. Therefore, an amendment was required to be made in constitution. Constitutional 101st Amendment Act 2016 was passed. This has Article 246A. This Article 246, sir, why didn't you revise this, sir? Because we are going to study all these things in the respective chapters. Going forward, we are going to study, so I am not revising that point. Article 246A gives the power to both central government and state government to make law with regard to goods and service tax. And that Article 246 also says, 246A also says that only the central government has the power to make law with regard to interstate supply. Then Article 269A talks about interstate supply. The central government has the power to make law with regard to interstate supply. Whatever revenue is collected as interstate supply, as IGST on interstate supply shall be distributed to central government and state government, and the law with regard to interstate supply, that is the law with regard to determining the place of supply, etc., shall be made by the central government. And then we saw the genesis of India. 1st July 2017, the GST Acts, the GST was made applicable to India. It is also called as appointed date. In different chapter, 1st July 2017 is stated as appointed date. With this, Tara, bye bye, see you. Let us all meet in the next video. Whoa, okay, sir.